Welcome everybody to Straight Shoot a Wrestling Podcast. Conman and I are back and we have a very interesting week. We have two premium live events in one weekend, and in this video we are going to be covering King and Queen of the Ring, part of WWE's trip to Saudi Arabia. But Con, how you doing, bud?
Saudi Arabia, as you said. I'm not sure what came out of your mouth right there, but we'll roll with it. Close enough, man. Good to see ya. Dude, I'm looking forward to it. You know, like anytime that we get two pay-per-views during a weekend, it's obviously busy for us as creators, but it's a good type of busy. Like, you know, there's nothing better than an actual pay-per-view or premium live event when it comes to wrestling. Great wrestling across the board, and we're going to start predicting for King and Queen of the Ring. Brother, we got some great matches here on the card, don't we?
We do. And before we get into our predictions, just for everyone's knowledge, this was recorded before Friday Night SmackDown, so we will be predicting also the winners of the semifinals for both the men's and women's bracket on the SmackDown side of things. On that note, Con, starting with the men's King and Queen of the Ring, King of the Ring final, Gunther versus the SmackDown bracket winner, and that possibility is either who is it? Randy Orton or Tama Tonga? Yeah,
and this is kind of like, I would say it would have been a tough one if Jey Uso had gotten in. But because Jey Uso didn't get in and he passed out to the ring general, Gunther, on Monday Night Raw, I think it's pretty easy to say that we're going to get Randy Orton in Saudi Arabia. It's also the Saudi crowd, and they're paying big money to bring them over, and Randy Orton's a legend, let's face it, right? So It makes total sense that he'd be put in a highlight match. So I got Randy Orton winning the semifinals, moving on to the finals to face Gunther.
Fair enough. And before I go into my prediction, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, believe we were ever going to see a one-on-one match between Randy Orton and Tama Tonga? Like, no. Can we run this back for a second? Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga on WWE Premium Live Television.
Prime time, probably the main event, honestly, of SmackDown. It's either the opener or the main event. Yeah, dude, this is wild that we're seeing Tama Tonga not only being presented the way he is in WWE, which, by the way, that theme song, the fire, the entrance, it's really, really good. It goes hard. There's no question about it. But yeah, this is wild that we're getting Randy versus Tama Tonga. I gotta ask though, what the heck was he doing last week?
That's Tama Tonga, man. That's Tama Tonga. Dude, that is him. That's like how he's always psyched himself up and got himself into that wild kind of Samoan. I know he's not Samoan, but like that wild mentality, that you know, killer mentality, if you want to use that.
Tonga, man. It's insane to see his eyes. Like I've seen him a little bit over in New Japan and all that, but just to see his eyes, how crazy they actually go. I mean, look, it'd be cool if Tama Tonga got the win, right? Like over Randy Orton, star-making performance in the King of the Ring tournament. But I think your pick is the same as mine. I'm not going to speak for you, but Randy Orton's winning this.
I am going to go with Randy Orton for this as well, to go into the final against Gunther for the King of the Ring. I do have one last question. There is a massive rumor of another Bloodline member. Do we get it this weekend? Yes or no?
No.
I don't think so either. I think they're still going to hold off on it, but you know what? It's coming, and it's coming soon, and I can't wait. But I do not think that new Bloodline member shows up at Saudi Arabia. Now, on to the King of the Ring final.
Oh, we're going right to the final?
Let's go to the King of the Ring final. Let's keep it all together. So if we both have Gunther and Randy Orton. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look, King Randy could be cool, but it is not what's best for the future of WWE. It is not what's best for making a big-time star. Gunther needs to be King General after this weekend. So my pick, lock it in. Bet $1 million on it. I don't think he's losing. It's Gunther.
Hey, you had a really good subathon. I might actually take that bet.
If I had more than $1 million that I could put down on Gunther, I would, because like it is that locked in. All right, he's winning.
Okay, Drake. Anyways, but yeah, I am gonna go.
Do not call me Drake. Not during this time. You cannot call me Drake.
I don't even know what's going on during this time with Drake. I don't pay attention to that nonsense. But anyways, I am going to go with Gunther as well to defeat Randy Orton. I think it is the next best move for WWE, considering there's no real room for Gunther in the world title feud right now. There's too many people in that pot. So I think what makes sense is Gunther walking around with a massive ego as King of the Ring. And I think the way that Triple H is doing the King of the Ring tournament this year, and it shows in the length of the matches, the respect each match has been given, that it's actually going to be carried more of the prestige that it was back in the 90s. Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Austin, those kind of characters, and being brought up to the main event in about 3 or 4 months. That's where I see this going back to. Hell, and even Triple H when he got it. So I think this is going to be a massive step forward for Gunther. Even though he doesn't need it, he's going to get it, and it's worth it for him.
He's one of those characters that, like, you know, yes, he doesn't need it because he is so good at what he does, but it doesn't hurt him at all by becoming a King of the Ring. And as long as we don't focus on like putting a cape and a crown on him and that being his new gimmick, you know what I mean? Like, he's the King of the Ring, and like that's how it used to be presented in the back. Like, they might get their crown and their cape for like the night, or whatever, but then that's it, right? They don't present themselves, or I mean, not always, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about being a king, like as opposed to, like, you know, when Sheamus won King of the Ring and they didn't know what the hell they were doing with that, and they were just like, oh, new gimmick, I guess you're a king now, and King Corbin, oh, you're a king.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just whatever, right? So yeah, I agree with you. I think Gunther needs this more than Randy does, and it will elevate him to that main event level scene.
Absolutely. I think the only person that ever ran with that king gimmick and that made it work was King Booker.
Booker, he's the only one, and that's why they kept trying to go back to it, right? Because it did work for Booker. It was a great gimmick, but it's also because it was Booker T pulling it off, and Booker's awesome.
And Queen Charmel.
And Queen Charmel, that hurt. Or that didn't hurt either.
Oh, no. All right, man. All right, moving on to the semifinals of the women's bracket, which is Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair. This is a coin toss.
I would agree. Do you know what makes me lean towards Nia Jax, though?
No idea. Please tell me.
One, Bianca Belair got her knee injured in the previous week.
Okay.
I think that's going to come into play here during this matchup, and I think that's the out for Bianca Belair over Nia Jax. Like, Nia's a strong competitor, and having that bum knee, it's either going to be like, oh, can she beat her? And she does. Or can she beat her and she doesn't? Like, that's the story of this match, I think, going in with Nia Jax. But the second thing as to why I'm leaning towards Nia Jax is because who won on the other side in Lyra Valkyria. And I think that matchup of little Lyra versus giant Nia could be a must-see moment for the Queen of the Ring, and it would be a feel-good moment as well, seeing Lyra in that position. That's my thought process, but like, it's so tough. It could be either.
I'm gonna go completely other direction, man, and this is gonna maybe get some hate because this is my view on how Bianca has been booked since the day she came in. It is Bianca Belair going into another feud as an underdog when she is literally one of the strongest women on the roster. And it's the superhero Bianca story again. I've got the bum knee, but I can still overcome the big giant, and I'm going to win, and then I'm going to go to Queen of the Ring, and I'm going up against the new hot up-and-comer where I have to overcome her being like on such a roll, and it's going to be Bianca. So for me on this, it's the same story over and over again for the Bianca Belair booking. And personally, I think I'm going to go back. I think Bianca should have been booked like Jade from the beginning. The Jade, because Jade's got that little bit of an edge to her, which is really giving her almost a little bit more popularity right now than Bianca because she's got that grit to her. And maybe it's just how I see it, but I'm
gonna say I think that's maybe just your viewpoint with it, because I don't see anything really wrong with Bianca Belair as a character. I understand that, you know, she's been booked very strong for a while, and like that style of booking, fighting from the underdog position, and when you are the favorite, you know, I get how that can rub people the wrong way. I would say that lately, though, it felt like she is she's fallen down the card a little bit back into that tag team division, but like, this this entire thing doesn't feel like it's super Bianca. It doesn't feel like that's the story being told right now. I almost feel like this is Nia's moment. You know, she got drafted over to SmackDown, and the babyface versus heel dynamic, you know, little versus big, writes itself. Now, granted, looking at all of that, it is tough to picture the Saudi Arabia show not having Bianca Belair on it.
Yeah.
Which, when we look at it that way, I can totally understand why Bianca might get put in. She's a very popular star. She would be well known worldwide, right? So a recognizable person winning the Queen of the Ring could also be where they're going with it. But yeah, if I'm in the booking seat, man, I'm pulling a bit of a swerve. I'm going Naira.
There you go.
Naira. Wow, I did it again. Nia versus Lyra in the Queen of the Ring finals. That's what I'd like to see.
I just look at it. There's no way you can put, and it's unfortunate because you have to look at the crowd that you're in front of. And you made a very good point. You have to look at the crowd you're in front of, and we've seen it before when there's not really a big star in a match and the crowd, the Saudi crowd, is silent. So putting Nia versus Lyra in there, I have a feeling it will be very detrimental to both women's careers for that night.
And that's a fair point, like where you're going with that. That is a fair point. We don't know how the Saudi crowd is going to react. We truly don't know, and that's why I was a little surprised Lyra got put in the finals over Io. I feel like Io is a little well more known, and I feel like Io Bianca as the Queen of the Ring finals feels like a Queen of the Ring finals.
And there's a story there still too.
Yeah. So like I feel like that was maybe at one point the direction, but instead Triple H was just like, oh, let's try to make a new star, which I can't fault, because that's what we used to complain about back when Vince was in charge, that nobody was ever being given new chances, right?
Exactly. All right, so just to recap, you are going for...
I'm going for Nia still. I think Nia's going to get it done.
And then I'm going with Bianca Belair. Perfect. There's our first difference. Now, for the final, where are you going?
I'm going to say Queen Nia.
Queen Nia?
I'm going to go, if Nia's winning and she's going to the finals, she's becoming the queen.
I would love to see the Bianca Belair rub over to Lyra Valkyria, because I think she has had a great showing since she's been called up, but there's no way Bianca Belair doesn't walk out without that Queen of the Ring crown.
There you go. All right, so the winner of the SmackDown side, we both have winning the Queen of the Ring tournament.
Yes, we do. Moving on to the Women's World Championship. Champion Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan on the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. I'm going to kind of run with this for a second. I am not a Liv Morgan hater at all. I love the work she does. I think her promos are slowly getting better. There's always a subtle improvement with Liv Morgan's character every step of the way.
Yep.
Okay. And it is very evident with this. My biggest thing with this match is the little teasers we have been getting on Monday Night Raw for the last 3 weeks with Liv Morgan being involved with Judgment Day. Okay. There is no Judgment Day on this card. But I do believe half the crew are in Saudi Arabia.
Interesting.
I personally think that Liv Morgan has something up her sleeve with either Dirty Dom or Finn Balor, where Becky Lynch might be in a lot of trouble in this match. I don't think people are understanding those subtle hints, and I think those little subtle hints are Liv is here and she's got something planned. She's got an ace in the hole. So
I think you're onto something, man. These teasers have been put there for a reason, right? They haven't just done these just for the sake of doing them. There's something to it. And the online theory right now is obviously focused on Dom, right? Because Dom and Liv, they've had that actual on-screen interaction, the stare down between each other, and they were seen coming out of the same locker room. But there's also a really neat little thing here that if you watch the story progress, everybody was freaking out about Dom not having his bandana anymore and Liv Morgan having the bandana. But guess who also didn't have their bandana?
Finn Balor.
Finn Balor. Yes. Finn Balor was then also seen coming out of the same car as Liv Morgan on Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
I think Dom is being truthful when being asked, is everything okay between him and Mommy? I think everything is okay between him and Mommy right now. I think Finn Balor and Liv have something cooking behind the scenes. Finn Balor wants Damian Priest's World Heavyweight title.
Yep.
And Liv Morgan wants Becky Lynch's Women's Championship. And then eventually down the line, we have Rhea Ripley coming back. So
exactly.
I think you're onto something, dude.
I honestly, and what we've seen with Rhea Ripley on social media, she's not walking around with a sling. She seems very content in whatever recovery she's going through. I think there's something here that we're building a story for Liv Morgan to hold that title right through Clash at the Castle. Becky Lynch gets the title shot back at Clash at the Castle, doesn't win, and we run right into SummerSlam with the return of Rhea Ripley and Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. Guys, I got Liv Morgan this weekend.
I got Liv Morgan too, man. I actually do. I have her becoming the new women's champion. What it dates back to is that battle royal where Becky Lynch won the title, right?
Yep.
And everybody was up. I mean, not everybody, but a good chunk of people were upset because they wanted Liv. And then there was some other fans who were like, well, hold on. Now's not the time. Build up the story, then it's the time. And they did. They did build up the story, right? They followed up the battle royal win. There's been some good promo segments between Liv and Becky, and now we've got some heat on the story as well.
Yeah.
All that's missing is the actual title win for Liv. And I don't see any reason why Becky needs to retain the title. You know, she had a good little run here, but it's about making the next star at this point for Becky. It's not about going on a 300-day run as champion. It's about who can she put over and help the next generation. So I think Becky does the job. I think Liv gets the dub.
And I also have to point out that Becky's contract is up in like 60 days. So,
yes. And
she's not re-signed.
We'll see what happens with that. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. Champion Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable and Big Bronson Reed. Con, go ahead.
All right. So I see this going of one of two directions, okay? I don't think Bronson Reed's winning this thing. So straight up, I think Bronson Reed is in there to be the fall guy.
Yeah.
All right? We're either looking at extending this feud between Sami and Chad Gable with Sami still as champion and Chad chasing, or we're going a slimy route where Chad Gable doesn't pin the champion to win the championship. And I think that's the direction we're going here for Saudi Arabia. I think we finally get Chad Gable winning that IC title. I think it's massive amounts of heat because of Sami Zayn, how over he is in Saudi Arabia. I think that heat magnet right there could be huge for Chad Gable. And we just got the "you suck" chance at the end of Monday Night Raw. They're not going to let that cool down. They want to push forward with that. So there's two ways we're going with it. My pick is Chad Gable becomes the Intercontinental Champion at King and Queen of the Ring, but I could also see us going in a direction where Sami pins Bronson and Chad says, you didn't pin me, and that's how we continue the feud.
I'm going with a third option.
Okay.
I am going with a Sami Zayn win. Like, I'm going with that. But we have had this Alpha Academy fall, like the demise of the Alpha Academy minus Otis in the last few weeks. And I am seeing right now that Otis will be involved. Chad's going to bring Otis down. And I think Otis makes a mistake. And he accidentally grabs Chad's foot or something when he like turns. He'll take out Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed will go through a table or something. He'll go through the Saudi table or something like that. And then Otis will turn around and, you know, Chad's going to like hit the ropes, or he'll give him, because it's triple threat, so it's no DQ. Otis accidentally takes out Chad and Sami capitalizes, and that's the route they go down, because Otis is very over right now with the crowd. They want him away from Gable. They want him to get his own opportunities. So I think...
Sorry to interrupt here, but have you seen the comparisons of the Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan story to Otis and Chad Gable?
I have.
Oh, I love that direction, man. The moment Otis finally does snap, on Chad is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, and I think you know what? I think it's Gable losing the match and a little bit of afters, and Otis finally goes, "No, I'm done."
I like that direction too. And look, I love Sami Zayn, and so if we're keeping the title on Sami for a little longer, I have no issues with it. I think Sami's doing great work right now. So, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I just have a weird feeling that we're going for heat at
Fair.
King and Queen of the Ring.
Fair.
I feel like we've got all these great moments, these great babyface moments over the last little bit. I think we're developing some more heat in WWE.
I just think, and I'm on the opposite side, I think it's the wrong crowd for it. If you want to develop heat, you develop heat in Scotland.
Sorry.
That's where you develop heat, because the Scottish crowds are vocal. They're, and like, the UK crowds, right? So like at Clash at the Castle, when Drew didn't win, it was loud.
It was loud for him. Yeah. Yeah. So
we will see. And on the final match of the night, we have the American Nightmare versus Evil Pikachu Logan Paul for the undisputed WWE Championship.
Evil Pikachu is wild. This is not title for title.
This is not title for title,
Not title for
which
title.
it should be if they're doing this. Because Logan, when was the last time? Like Logan, what, WrestleMania? He defended his.
And like we'll get to my finish here and all that, but with what I have up in my head, title for title would have worked, man. It would have worked. But I want to hear your predictions first, okay?
I'm gonna run with this, and I'm gonna run with a no contest.
I think okay. Are we on the same page?
I'm gonna run with a no contest because listen, as much as people hate on Logan Paul, he is very good in the ring, and the Saudis are paying a lot of money for him to be there. Cody Rhodes is the #1 babyface technically in the company. People are paying a lot of money to see him win as well. You can't do both, you can't, and I don't think you can do one or the other. And Logan has technically lost more matches in WWE than he's won, but he's still holding the US title.
Yep.
So I have two directions. It's either a no contest or a very hard fought battle that Logan, takes, I think, 2 or 3 crossroads.
I was going to say, it'd have to be the 3 crossroads thing that Cody does, right?
Yeah.
He'd hit one earlier in the match, Logan would kick out, and then he's like, okay, 1, 2's not enough, how about 3? I'm going in the same direction as you are with the no contest, but how do we get to a no contest is a great question. And I'm going to tie this all back here to some online stuff that has been going on where we've been scanning QR codes.
Yep.
We've been watching Twitch. We've been going to WhatsApp to find images.
That was wild.
For Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
And it seems that Uncle Howdy is going to be at King and Queen of the Ring. And I think this is when we make our debut. They have written themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Right? Or I guess return technically for Uncle Howdy, but they have written themselves into a corner with this matchup. They allowed themselves a little bit of an out, with Logan Paul's title not being on the line anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a big out because that means Cody Rhodes is pinning the United States champion clean, which, yeah. So I think we get the debut. I think during the match at some point, either both men are down or they're staring at each other. Could even be people wouldn't be too happy, but right at the start of the match. You know what I mean? It could even be right at the start of the match. They're staring at each other right after the big announcements, almost similar to when Brock Lesnar turned on Cody.
Yep.
We didn't get the big match. They could do something like that. However, with a 5-match card, I think that's a really big mistake if you do that. That's the main event. That's the reason people are going there. But I think towards the end,
I think they go
out.
Yeah. I think they go about 35. Both men are laid out, and then Logan just disappears. I don't think they're gonna do like the hole in the ring where he vanishes. I think just lights go out, Logan disappears, Uncle Howdy's laying in the ring or standing.
I like this direction with Uncle Howdy because it doesn't establish Howdy as a face or a heel character right away.
No,
it'll create some questions. Okay, who is he actually after? Is he after Logan? Is he after Cody?
Yeah.
Is he after something else? So yeah, I think we're both going in that same direction. Uncle Howdy is going to lead to this match being a no contest.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, there are your King and Queen of the Rings predictions for 2024. Con, where can people find you?
Conman167 on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all those places, guys. Just search it and you'll find me.
Yeah, guys, and all our links will be down below. Don't forget to check our Connect links with Next Level in the bio. And don't forget to join us right before Money in the Bank, or Money in the Bank. Sorry.
That's soon.
yeah, don't forget to join us live at Money in the Bank. But no, don't forget to join us 2 hours before King and Queen of the Ring for live professional wrestling trivia. The link for the trivia will be down below. We will be starting 2 hours before the show starts, and we'll be playing
live together. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come join, can't even speak. Come hang out and you know, potentially win some moolah.
All right, guys, take care of yourselves, and like always, be good people.